Hey, good morning, everybody. Mr. Kennedy here. Today, we're going to be learning how to draw Peppa Pig.
Alright, my friends. So to get started with drawing Peppa Pig, first, we're going to start kind of in the middle of our paper, and I'm going to make a line that's going to come down at an angle, and kind of like I'm making a backwards number 6. I'm going to loop my shape around. I want to make a big loop. And as I start to bring it back in towards the line I made in the very beginning, I'm going to stop. I don't want these two lines to touch. I'm going to come back to where I started my line, and I'm going to make kind of like a big letter C. From there, I'm going to bring the bottom of my letter C into that line I started with, or ended with earlier. Just like that. And it's okay if there's a little overlap. I'll just erase a little bit of that line. Actually, I think I want this to be a little bit bigger. Let's bring that up just like that. Yeah, that looks better. So it's a little bit more of a circle shape that we have. All right, so now if I come back to where I started my letter C, I'm gonna make a backwards letter C, almost like I'm gonna turn that C into an oval shape. That's gonna sit right on the end of what will be Peppa Pig's nose or snout. I'm then gonna make two little circles inside. These are going to be for her nostrils, her nose holes. Next, let's give her some eyes. So kind of like it's right above this line that I made earlier. Right here is where I'm going to start my first eye. So I'm going to first start with a big circle. And then inside of that, I'm going to make an even smaller one that I will color in black. Right next to that, I'm going to put her other eye. Her eyes are pretty close together. They're not touching, but they are right next to each other. Then again, I'm going to put a tiny little circle inside that I will color in black. All right, next, Peppa Pig has two big ears that, even though she's kind of a pig, her ears, they kind of remind me of bunny ears. So right above the second eye we drew, we're going to draw her first one. And it's kind of like a big letter N on the top of her head. And right next to that, we're going to do a second one. Not touching, but still right next to that first ear. We're going to give her second ear. All right, next, Peppa Pig has like a big circle of blush on her cheek right here. So let's draw a big circle. This circle we want to make sure is bigger than her eyes. Doesn't have to be this big, but we do want it bigger than her eyes are. Next, let's give her a big smile. So right next to where we drew this side of her face, I'm going to draw a big smile line. All right. Next, let's give Peppa Pig her shirt. So I'm going to come not to the very bottom of her head, but over on the side. So right here, and I'm going to say right here underneath that big circle we drew for her cheek. This is where I'm going to start her dress. This is where I'm going to end it. So I'm going to make a big line that's going to curve out. It's going to come down and out. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Again, I want it to come out and down. And I want them to be about the same length. because I'm going to make another line that's going to connect them. And that's going to be for Peppa Pig's dress or her shirt. Next, let's draw her legs. So down at the bottom of that line, the line we just drew to connect these two sides of her, we're going to draw 4 little lines. I'm going to draw 1, 2, two of them right next to each other. We're going to leave a little space. We're going to do 2 more. 1, too far, 2. Just like that. So now I have 4 little tiny lines sticking out the bottom of my Peppa Pig. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to make a line that's going to go across them, but it's going to be wider. So you notice it kind of sticks out on the end of my legs. So it's kind of like I have a little square underneath her. And we'll do that to the other side too. Next, let's take the end, the outside end. Let's make a little line that comes down. And we can do that on both of them. This is going to be for Peppa Pig's boot. Now from this line, we're going to come out kind of like we're making a backwards letter L. We're going to make a little loop. And we're going to connect it back to our shoe, or to the top of our boot. So again, on this side, I'm going to make a big line coming out, kind of like I'm, again, making a backwards letter L. I'm going to put a big little loop on the end, and then I'm going to connect it back to the top of my boot. That's going to be my Peppa Pig's feet. Now we need to give her 2 arms and a tail. For her right arm, we're going to make a line kind of coming out right here. So not right at the where her shirt is touching her head, but down a little bit on her body. We're going to make a big line coming out. Now Peppa Pig only has 3 fingers. So what we're going to do from the end of this line, we're going to make 3 little loops, 3 little end shapes. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. And then notice I didn't make them touch, and I'm going to make this line now come back into my body, for Peppa Pig's arm. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So again, let's make a, not right at the edge where our head is touching our dress, but down a little bit. We'll make a big line coming up and out. And again, let's give her 3 fingers, so 3 little letter ends. 1, 2, and 3. And again, we're not going to make these fingers touch because we're going to leave a little space to bring that line back into our body. I think I made her arm a little too long, but that's okay. On this side of her, where we drew our first arm, the right side, we're going to give Peppa Pig a tail. So to do that, I'm going to make a loop-de-loop line. So I'm going to start down here. I'm going to come up and make a loop, 1 loop, and then out. Now, I want to turn this from a line into more of a tail. So I'm going to come to the end of my loop-de-loop line. I'm going to make another line kind of from the point of it that's going to go back into my loop. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, kind of coming out of her body right next to that loop-de-loop line, and go, again, right into that loop. And inside of here now, I'm going to make a little circle. Now it kind of looks like she has a loop-de-loop, her tail is making a loop. And that is our Peppa Pig. Now we're ready to color and then trace. If you want to pause the video here at home, you can to match the same colors, but you do not have to.
I hope you guys had fun drawing Peppa Pig with me today. I hope you guys stay safe, you keep drawing, and I'll see you next time.